Hey, it's Bill, and you're tuned into the Pennsylvania Rock Show, featuring the best unsigned rock and metal that Pennsylvania has to offer, right here on PARockShow.com, MegaRockRadio.net, 107.1 FM St. Louis, Missouri, AltRockRadio.ca in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, XRPRadio.co.uk in the home of Ozzy Osbourne, Birmingham, United Kingdom. RootarooRadio.com on the beaches of San Diego, California. BuildAScene.com in the thriving metropolis of Leechburg, Pennsylvania, with our two red lights. And did I forget anybody? This is a weekly thing.
You've only done 500 and some of these.
Anyway, this is episode 561 of the Pennsylvania Rock Show. With me tonight is Eric Rodger of Royal Honey. And
hey.
We were just discussing how people probably know a lot of what's going on with Royal Honey right now because they've been all over the place.
True that.
So
people are sick of seeing me. I tried to get some of the other guys on tonight, and everybody's sick.
Well, how about this? We'll start off with one of my newer questions. And hopefully you haven't listened to the last PA Rock Show or the last three questions in the song, because one of them was on both of them.
What are you talking about? I always crash course your last episodes to make sure that I'm up on everything you're doing.
See, that's a great answer.
It is a great answer. It's absolutely untrue, though.
All right, so we're going to start off with this question. I recently watched a documentary about Robert Johnson. And my question to you is, if you were waiting in a crossroads and the devil showed up and offered you whatever it was that you were waiting for, if you gave him your soul, what would you trade your soul for?
Well, I think the obvious answer is something that would extend life here on Earth. I mean, even the general lifespan here is not very long at all. So I'm not sure immortality is exactly what I want to wish for, but I don't know, maybe 400 years on Earth. I don't know, 1,400 years on Earth, something long, so I could see cool shit. But there's my one swear. You said I could swear once, so I want to get that out of the way quickly. Yeah, probably like 500 years on Earth or something like that, or 1,500 years. I need a little more time to think about it. I would start by asking for more time to answer the question. What's your answer?
I don't know. I haven't thought about that one. I'm echoing again. I don't know what's going on.
Technology, man.
Anyway, there are a few people watching us on Facebook. They can interact by making a comment on the video if they would like.
Woo! Now I want to know who's on.
I don't know.
How do you not know?
Because I'm not looking at the Facebook page. I'm looking at the thing that says live and shows me 6 eyeballs.
It's probably my bad. It's probably my bad. Like, they don't want to be on it and answer questions and stuff, but they want
to know what you're saying.
Yeah, but they want to know what I'm saying. Make sure I'm not screwing stuff up.
What was the second question I asked? I don't remember.
Could write them down.
Yeah, that's too easy. I know I'll remember it. Or I could go, I send it to Jonna because I was so happy with it. Maybe I'll go look. I'll probably have to scroll up 5,000 pages to find it, though, after a couple days.
Yeah. What's First Angel Media doing, by the way?
They just finished a shoot over the weekend.
I saw that. It looked really cool.
Did you see the Mad Clock stuff? Is that the one you're?
Maybe I saw the last one. Where they were in a like abandoned church or something, or
Yep. That's Mad Clock.
okay, yeah, that looked really cool.
Yeah, someone had a negative comment about one of the photos. Yeah, I'll tell you off the air.
Okay.
So when you've been on as much as you have, it's really hard for me to come up with new questions. I do have one though.
That's why I said we should totally take this one off the rails and just like, I don't know, open Royal Honey fan mail or something. I don't know. We could sketch napkin designs for new artwork or something, like just something like totally outside of the normal realm of what we do and what we talk about on this.
We could talk artwork. Where does the artwork for your album covers and singles come from?
Oh, that's all Angelo. He's the art director of Royal Honey. And if he was on, he could speak to all this stuff, but he's not. So I'm going to throw him under the bus here and just say, if you don't like it, blame Angelo. If you do like the artwork, then praise me because I showed up. No, Ange is in charge of artwork. He's got a real artistic mind to him. He comes up with the T-shirt designs, the album covers. He came up with the logo. I don't have an artistic bone in my body at all, with the exception of, music. So I outsourced that part to the people who are good at it. So yeah, he threw that car design that's behind you with the traffic and threw that together. And the national publication that picked up the article for the single release back on March 12th. They were called easynoise.com. They had some cool feedback. I don't think it actually made the article, but they had some cool feedback for us regarding the art design that we, that Angela threw together to kind of pair with the single, I guess. If we were going to put it out on an old 45 or even, CD single or something like that, that would have been the artwork that went with it. So we threw it up on CD Baby, and CD Baby is the distribution point for Spotify and everything else. And we upload it to Bandcamp. The artwork for the single goes along with it. So
it almost looks like Dottism, where, for those of you not familiar with art, it's when there's a bunch of dots that make the picture. It's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, and again, this is kind of a non-artistic mind, feeding back my own opinion of it. But to me, it looks like cool sloppy is the way, or sloppily cool. I can't really think of any other way to describe it, because again, I'm not big on art or artwork, but it just looks cool to me. I like he's been doing it a long time too. I mean, he's been into the flyers. He's been into, he used to walk around Oakland and South Side, stapling old flyers up, and that kind of stuff used to actually catch people's eyes, and it would, get somebody to stop and actually pop into a bar like Excuses or the Decade back in the day. And it's kind of a lost art now, but like anything else, retro, there's like full Facebook groups for, flyers old school flyers. And, I forget what the one group, there's like flyers that made the radio star or something like that. I forget what it was called, but, yeah, that's all it is. It's people posting old flyers from old bands, local and regional. And you'd be surprised what pops up now from the 80s and the 90s in some of those groups.
Before we came on, Matt Franny posted this 10-year anniversary of one of the ATF's albums, and he posted a hidden track, which is a hip hop medley. So I was listening to it, and my daughter walked in, and I was like, "Listen, it's a rock band playing hip hop." She goes, "Yeah, it's not very good." I'm like, "It's not supposed to be."
Coming from the hip hop connoisseur that your daughter
Yeah,
is, huh?
yeah. Well,
I
she's
would be interested in hearing that. I definitely have not heard that mix. What I guess enlightened them to try such a mix, and I wonder how much time they put into it. Have you interviewed them about that? What's the name of
not.
the song? Do you remember?
It just says it's hip hop medley.
Oh, hip hop medley.
Yeah,
So is it like a mashup of covers or?
yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a hip hop mix of one of their songs.
No.
Okay.
They and they're all recognizable. Like it starts out with part of Limp Bizkit's "Break Stuff,"
Hmm.
and then it goes into "Down with OPP," and yeah, it's you'll recognize every song.
Okay.
And there's like 5 minutes of that, and then there's like 2 minutes and 49 seconds of them just harassing each other and laughing. I had to stop that part because my daughter was in the room.
Yeah. How long ago did they do that?
Well, 10 years ago, so 2011.
Oh, okay.
And they used to do a medley on stage with Doug singing too, a hip hop medley.
Oh, maybe it was
Who
the
knows?
same medley.
I don't know. I'm getting pretty old. I don't remember.
Yeah, no comment there.
So, speaking of After the Fall and Matt Franny, you guys, and this is a real stretch for this segue, but you guys have some festivals coming up. Do you want to mention them?
Yeah, it's a pretty good. That's a pretty good segue. A pretty lengthy one. I guess you're making the connection by way of Gigaroo, which is what's the date on that? July
I think it's the 10th and the 11th.
10th, 11th.
It's whatever the first weekend in July is.
Yeah, we're playing July 9th. So the festival is July 9th and 10th. You were right. Yeah, you were right. I'm mixing that up with our hopeful Faster Pussycat Enough's Enough show, which would be at Jurgles on July 7th. That's the rescheduled date, and we haven't heard anything otherwise, so that's still in my calendar. But then, yeah, July 9th, we've got kind of the kickoff of our festival calendar, which we were fortunate enough to land a couple of cool outdoor festivals this year, and I'm happy about that. It's exactly what I wanted to do because I knew that the festivals would happen this year. There's still some uncertainty with the indoor gigs, with COVID and everything. I'm kind of just cautiously hopeful that things look like they're starting to open up. Next week we've got some restrictions in Pennsylvania lifting, some not exactly to 100%, but we'll have to see like if some of the indoor clubs start booking bands again. But I was pretty confident that the outdoor gigs would happen because half of them still went on last year. A couple of them were canceled, but there were a few that still happened, and it seemed to be a fairly safe environment. And I don't believe that there were any increased COVID numbers specifically from outdoor summer festivals or outdoor gatherings like that. We really didn't see numbers start to climb again until the holiday season hit, when everybody was gathering indoors with family, and that's when those numbers started to peak. So it's a really long way of saying our band was just kind of looking at the calendar saying, we're hopeful for the indoor stuff. We're pretty sure that the outdoor stuff's going to happen. So let's focus on those. And we were in a fortunate position to get called up on 3 of them. Gigaroo is the first one. And again, that's July 9th and 10th. We'll be playing at 6 p.m. on the 9th. So I think we're one of the first bands that night, kind of almost kicking off the series. Very happy about that.
It's very hot on Friday night at that point in the day.
Yeah,
I'm going to warn you ahead of time.
that's all right. We're used to that. We played at a pretty hot spot last year at the Rock for Life August date, and and we're a warm, we're kind of a sizzling band, so we're used to being hot and heating people up. You know, we welcome it. 6 p.m. on a nice summery July night. That sounds friggin' fantastic to me, actually. So, I can't wait to play it. Looking really forward to that. And then 2 in August, Milvale Music Festival got rescheduled this year here in Pittsburgh from it's normally in May, and it got rescheduled for, unfortunately, it's on, they put it on the same weekend as the Rock for Life Festival. So that'll end up being the first weekend in August, July 6th and 7th. So, get out and see some festival of live music that week, whether it's Milvale, in the Milvale neighborhood of Pittsburgh in the city, or if you're on the outskirts, then head back up to Iceland Field and go see the Rock for Life Festival. Between the two festivals that weekend, there's just eons of good bands. Wish I could be in both places at the same time, and kind of bummed that I'm kind of bummed that they didn't coordinate with each other to avoid that. But but I understand why Milvale moved their festival from May to August, because May there was just a lot of uncertainty, and August is looking like a lot more people will be vaccinated and or have had it. So people who have had COVID should be fairly well protected for 90 days or so from getting it again. So I think summer's actually going to be pretty good as far as people getting out and being able to see live music. We actually don't know what day we're on. I don't know if we're on Friday or Saturday, the 6th or the 7th for Milvale yet. But regardless, I'm just excited to be playing that festival again. And then we're playing the Band Jam Grassroots Festival. That's put on by Shady Lady Productions and our new friends Utah and Bob from 97.7. Was on their program I think a week ago Sunday, and that went really well. So we're happy to be on our first Band Jam this year, and that is August 27th and 28th up at Cooper's Lake Campground, or Cooper's
Lake.
Yeah, the festival is at Cooper's Lake, and then camping is separate. I think they're both on the Cooper's Lake property, though. I can't remember.
They are, yes.
Okay.
But the ticket for the Band Jam does not cover your camping. That's a separate fee.
Yep. Okay, that's no problem. I just couldn't remember if they were on the same property.
I don't have a flyer for that one, or I would show it too. But I showed the Gigaroo flyer and the Rock for Life flyer. I'll have to get the Gigaroo one or the Band Jam one.
Yep. Okay.
And since you brought them up, the Band Jam, Noble Hops, and the Grassroots Show are all sponsors of Build a Scene Radio. So we'll throw that out. You go to buildascene.com/radio, and all the sponsors are down the right-hand side. Make sure you go out and support those sponsors for us.
Definitely. And again, anybody who's listening and is looking for live music, there's tons of live music coming this summer. Plenty of opportunities. So, please support. You can get tickets for the Band Jam through us. Gigaroo is a door only ticketed event. I think you just,
Yep.
So,
that one is $20 for both nights. So $20 total will get you both nights. Awesome. Same with Rock for Life.
And then Milvale, I think, is free. I can't remember if there's any entrance fees there or not. I think it's free, but
I think
sometimes I get that and Deutschtown mixed up. So, but I'm pretty sure Milvale is free. Probably could have done that research before coming on here and looking like like a fool. But yeah, yeah, because I think they promote, kind of wandering from venue to venue and taking a walk through the city and seeing the outdoor stages, and so I'm pretty sure everything is free of charge, music wise anyway.
um, I teamed up with the writer from First Angel Media, and which isn't a far fetch for me since I am part of First Angel Media. But if you go to Build a Scene and you go to the scene tab, there's a link that says 2021 event and festival guide, and I spent a weekend tracking down as many festivals as I could find in the Pittsburgh area and break them up into what month they are and linking to either their Facebook page or website. And then DN Rowe, also known as Mad Clock, who we were talking about earlier, wrote an article about what we believe is going to happen for the rest of the year as far as festivals and events go. And if you want to check that out, just go to buildascene.com and hover over scene. You'll see it in there.
He also did a fantastic article on our new single release, which was on March 12th. And so really appreciative to him. But that article, both the time that you put into that website, because I've used it. I'll be honest with you. I went out and I think you sent me a link to it. So I went through and made sure that I had applied to everything that was, I guess, pertinent to us and up our alley. We went ahead and applied for. The only real festival that I didn't get into that I wanted to, there's one down in West Virginia called Rimrocks that happens in July, I think, as well, and it got canceled last year. But they have a very limited capacity that they're allowing in this year, so they also limited the number of bands. So I was kind of bummed about that one, but some friends of ours are playing that one. So
I think Dragline plays that sometimes.
I think Dragline's on it, and the Cheats are on it. I can't remember if anybody else from Pittsburgh is, but they've got a great lineup down there. So if we're free, we might kind of jump in a van and all go down as a band just to support that one as well. But we'll see.
You mentioned Cut and Run. Why don't we talk about that for a little bit?
Yeah. Cut and Run is a very energetic single that we put out on March 12th. We've been promoting it now for a couple of weeks. We got some national exposure, some national press from it. It's been pretty well received. It's been really cool to see it get in the hands and in front of people that the first CD didn't get to. Like, it's just like the first CD called Hype Money and Misbehavior, and the singles that we released with that, got all over Pittsburgh and maybe even a little regionally. Cut and Run has gotten beyond that already. We know it's gotten some airplay in California and like Las Vegas. So it's just been cool to see it pop up in Excess Noise, which is a worldwide publication, and on the homepage when it was released, the writer did a cool article about it, which was really nice. And we popped up. It was I think they called it a new track review. And we were placed right under Paul McCartney and an article about a new mix or a new version of his last album, I think. And so, our pictures popped up, basically right under Paul McCartney and this article about him. And I was just like, all right, we're getting somewhere.
I know that exact feeling. When I was in college, I took a intro to poetry class, and two things happened from there. One, the professor told me that I was a good prose writer and not a poet, and she gave me the only B in the class. Everybody else had A's. And two, she published one of my poems in her textbook. I was the only one who got published. I got a B. Everybody else got an A. I don't get it. But in the index, it said Dickinson Emily, and then under it, it said Damiano William.
Nice.
So I'm listed under Emily Dickinson. So take that, A's.
Exactly. I mean, maybe it was the B that set you apart because they all look the same.
Well, it was a visual poem. Do you know what a visual poem is?
I do not.
So it's where the words make a picture. So when you look at it, you can see a picture that has something to do with what the poem means.
Oh, wow.
But
that sounds laborious. Like, I can't even imagine. Like, I mean, trying to fill in words to make lyrics is one thing, but trying to fill in words that are different lengths to make a. I assume it's picture. You know, the picture is made from where the spaces are.
Yeah. So what I did was I used the word technology and I just kept repeating it. And it looked like a computer monitor, a keyboard, and a mouse. And then in the middle of the keyboard, it said failing humanity. And I named it truth. That was all it was. I did it 5 minutes before class started.
Failing humanity. What year did you do this?
That would have been late 90s.
Wow. And even then you knew kind of the foreshadowing what all this social media crap is doing to us.
Well, and the funny thing is I kind of teach computers. So I'm kind of...
So you're contributing to the failing of humanity is what you're saying.
That I predicted, yep.
And getting paid for it. Okay, yes. Fair enough, yeah.
But I also teach Spanish and stream and science, so... I don't know if you saw my last status on Facebook. It'll confuse you if you don't know Spanish.
I know the tiniest little bit of Spanish.
So what I posted was as a amos on o es a amos en o es a emos en.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the endings in the present tense when you're conjugating verbs. Yep, that's exactly what my students are saying. The English teacher at my school loves me right now because all those kids want to go to English class instead of Spanish class.
Well, then you've done your duty then.
I tried to explain it to my principal, and she was like, "This is horrible." I'm like, "It's your fault. You told me I had to teach it." But anyway, so how about we take a moment and we listen to Cut and Run, and we'll come back and I'll ask you a couple more questions, and then I'll let you go.
Cool.
All right. So those of you that are currently tuned in, you do not get to listen to the song right now. You have to wait until Friday. 6 a.m., the podcast will show up at buildanscene.com. 8 p.m., it'll play on buildanscene.com/radio. And then all the stations I mentioned at the beginning have various times throughout the week that it'll play. Keep in mind that I have them set as Eastern time, but, in the UK, they're like 5 hours ahead of us. But
if you DM me, I'll send it to you.
There you go.
Which it's already publicly available. It's been out since March 12th, but yeah, you just can't play it over Facebook or they'll cut the audio out of this, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And that kind of eliminates the whole purpose.
Yeah.
You know what I didn't do? I didn't do my homework. I don't know who I am going to play with you because generally I play 2 songs in the middle. You know what? I'll play the Borstal Boys.
Always safe with that. And that'll be a good segue into talking about another kind of, I don't know if it's festival, but you've got them on your website, but that is season 2 of the SOS Concert Series, SOS PGH Concert Series.
So
coming up.
That's what we'll do. You ready?
So should we sit here until 3 minutes and 26 seconds of Cut and Runner?
No, I don't think.
All right.
Hey, you just heard the Borstal Boys Green Light, and before that, Royal Honey Cut and Run. With me tonight is Eric Rodger from Royal Honey.
Hey,
And Eric, you wrote a song called SOS 2020
that's
that
correct.
has pretty much exploded. It started its own movement.
Sure did.
And if you guys aren't familiar with the song, we don't want to spend too much time on it because we've spent a lot of time on it.
We have multiple episodes.
But basically, the proceeds from purchasing the song SOS 2020 are being donated to NIVA's Emergency Relief Fund, which in turn is being used to help out the music scene, venues, and companies that are, rely on the music scene. So go to sospgh2020.org for more information. Yeah, more information
Okay, wait,
on
that's
that.
not right. It's 2020. I'm sorry, it's SOS2020PGH.org.
Isn't that what I said?
Pretty sure you said SOSPGH 2020.
I may have. It's been a while since I've said it out loud.
It has, and you own that. You've done that website, so you should know,
Yeah.
Bill. If
Yeah,
anybody should
bad.
know, it's you. It's
Yes.
SOS2020PGH.org.
PGH.org.
You can get the whole story there. The background. It's this all happened between October and January 2020 into 2021, and a song was released in early 2021, and now it's exploded, like Bill said, into this concert series and coming up on season 2.
April 8th, I believe. Is that Thursday?
Yep. So it's Thursdays. Season 1 too was was on Thursdays. It's 4 Thursdays in a row. April 8th, 15th, 22nd, and 29th. Broadcast live stream from And Stuff Music, the next door cafe, literally right next door to And Stuff Music. If you're from the Pittsburgh area and know that music store, go please support them. They are one of the staples in this music town. I've been shopping and buying my strings there for forever, it seems like. They've been there longer than I've been alive. So, actually, they've been around longer than I've been alive. I'm not certain that they've been in Blawnox. I don't know the exact history when they moved there, but I think they started somewhere else and then moved up to Blawnox. Anyway, support And Stuff Music, support the Next Door Cafe, and support season 2 of the SOS PGH Concert Series. It's $10 for season 2. If you were a season 1 subscriber, that's already you get it for free.
You should have gotten an email. If you didn't get the email, check your email.
Yeah. And our friend Rocky Lamondi is the producer of all this. It was his idea, and he teamed up with Todd from 10 Band Productions, and Alexis Salinas is doing all the video and graphic design and images again. So it's just a great team. And Rocky wanted to change it up a little bit this season, so we've got a singer-songwriter night.
I think that's the.
And then we've got a blues. Yeah, and then we've got a blues night on the 15th. We've got a jazz night on the 22nd, and then we've got a heavy metal night on the 29th to wrap up the whole thing. And that one I was a little more heavily involved in. And that one I can actually talk a little bit more about. That one we've got Skell anchoring it, and Winter's Descent and Instakill, 3 fantastic metal bands, all from the general Pittsburgh area. Just so happy to have those guys. And then one other note is that, and I should have worn my shirt tonight, but Robbie Perrone, who plays bass in Instakill, he and his wife, their marketing company called Endeavor After LLC donated all the SOS 2020 T-shirts to all the participants who were part of the song. So that was really cool. they were they were happy to be a part of it. Now kind of on both fronts, kind of on the donation front, and now donating their time as part of the performers. So
Instakill sounds like a metal band name, right? It's one you expect.
They all do. Winter's Descent.
Instakill is because they're gamers. I just interviewed him. It's gaming. I was like, really?
Actually, that doesn't surprise me. And I think I had heard that somewhere as well and was not surprised by that. But I'm not a gamer.
Have you heard the new track from Winter's Descent, Fortune?
Oh, yeah.
It's phenomenal. I was so excited when I heard it.
Yeah, that's really good. And I ran into Jerry Mulligan at our rehearsal space. We happened to share some rehearsal space, and last week I ran into him and I was talking to him about their rehearsals for the show, and our buddy Nick from Big Atlantic, he filled in on drums on Winter's Descent's last album. So we were having a conversation about Nick being involved, and I guess he's doing the show with them as well. So that was just really cool. Like, part of the SOS 2020 experience for me was all about the community, and it kind of started out as a song. Like I said, Rocky had the idea to make it into a concert series, and then Bob McCutcheon, who was involved from the get-go, he really had this vision of the community, and how can we reach out even past the song and past the shows. And and we started talking to Liz Berlin, who's on both sides of the fence, because they have Mr. Smalls, and she performed on the song, and she's obviously a musician from
Rusted Root.
Rusted Root, yeah. So this whole sense of community, just in the first season, when I would go up on stage and just see the number of people in the room, and it's a limited amount because we're just live streaming basically to the other bands and maybe a couple of the plus ones and the support staff, and then obviously the pianos and stuff staff is all there. But just seeing that community in the room of people that I didn't previously know prior to doing this project, and then now I forget what my point. Oh, and then bringing in bands like Winter's Descent, who we ran out of space, we ran out of studio time, so not every band in Pittsburgh had the opportunity. We didn't have the opportunity to invite everyone. So, but I was happy to be able to invite bands that weren't necessarily involved in the song, like Winter's Descent, and they've got obviously very, very deep ties into First Angel Media with Jonna and those guys, and Nick being in Big Atlantic. And it's just like, I'm witnessing this community, this sense of community coming together, kind of just as a fringe benefit of the song, and this idea that, just kind of hit me back in October. And that's really,
I remember actually discussing your idea with you, and some things that didn't happen, but and then you came to me and you were like, "Hey, we need a website," and I was like, "Yep, I'm in."
Yeah,
because like I said in the one Zoom meeting, my website is Build the Scene, so I'm not going to be involved.
I mean, yeah. The number of different, I want to say, avenues or destinations or something, like the number of different bands, people, venues, and then even just sole contributors, whether it's videographers or art people. It's definitely generated some commerce. I mean, I think you've been a beneficiary of some of the actual there's some financial opportunity. There's some work to be done is basically what it comes down to. And eventually, some of it is definitely unpaid, but some of it, some of the opportunities out there are paid opportunities. And, and I want to think that some of the opportunities that you have gotten may have come about because of, relationships that we that we brought together because of this project. Like maybe you knew Adam and Drusky and those guys before, or the Vinosky Winery before, SOS, but I think that you knew them better after the SOS project happened. And I think that, I think that that's led to some opportunities, and not just with you, but I mean, Alexis is, I think her appointment book is overflowing, and I think she's full, and she should be, because the amount of work that she dedicated and the fantastic job that she did proved to this whole community. And she's a transplant. She was brand new to Pittsburgh, from New Orleans, came up with Dominic, who was coming home basically. But she's new to Pittsburgh, and she showed everybody what she could do from a video and an art and a photography standpoint. And, and that rightfully should be turning into, lucrative opportunities for her. She just has to figure out where to draw the line between, giving it away for benefit and where to start charging. So,
and being someone who's been doing that kind of stuff since 1995, I can tell you it's really 1996. It's really hard to draw that line sometimes.
I know. I mean, I get that. I'm trying to figure out if SOS PGH is always going to have to be, a philanthropic avenue. We already kind of reduced it from SOS 2020 because that was obviously the song, and it was specific to the year 2020 and all the COVID going on. And then when Rocky had the idea, he's like, why don't we shorten it to SOS PGH for the concert series? I've got some ideas floating through my mind, like, can we do something with that isn't necessarily 100% all for charity, but where, maybe this is a brand that sticks around Pittsburgh for the next 10 or 20 years, but only a portion of it. Like, I don't know, I have ideas like, can we turn it into a promotions company and start booking shows at other venues, and our job then becomes to fill these venues for the venues. It's still supporting the venues, but does it all have to stay 100% benefit? I don't know the answer to that question. I'm just kind of, it's just stuff that's kind of popping through my mind, and and Rocky and Bob and Alexis and I should all sit down and figure out, and even you, I think you're a majority stakeholder as well. We need to kind of all figure out, do we just at some point put a lid on that brand and then say, now we all go do our own stuff, and we build it into, kind of segue it into other stuff that we're doing? Or do we continue to use it in some meaningful manner, but not carelessly? We want to make sure we do it. If we do, we do it right. So,
well, while we're talking about kind of offshoots, not to confuse anybody, but Wednesdays before the Thursday shows, you will be able to watch basically what Eric and I are doing now, except I'll be talking to artists that will be performing the next day. And you can find that on the website as well, sos2020pgh.org. I did it right that time.
Yes, you did. Nice job.
So, everyone came to the game with what they were talented at, and that was mine, podcasting and websites.
Exactly. And
I can do the photography and I can do the image editing, but when someone's better than me, let them do it.
Yeah, and
And,
a lot of it came down to time management. I mean,
oh yeah,
I don't think you had the time to put in what Alexis did,
no,
and
and distance as well.
yeah. So I
And
think that was
and
part of the community too, was just assembling a group of people who, I mean, I didn't know Alexis before Rocky introduced me to her. Rocky, I don't believe knew you, and vice versa. I mean, you knew of
well,
each other, but I think we
I,
introduced you.
I interviewed Rocky at Rock for Life
Okay.
19, I think, or maybe 20.
Yeah. He didn't know your repertoire. He didn't know your history. He didn't know your portfolio. You had already done the Royal Honey website. So when those guys, when we were on a call and he said, you know what, we really need to shotgun a website like sooner rather than later. And I was like, okay, well, I know there's one guy and I know he'll get it done. So you can say yes or no, but if you say no, I got no one else. Like, and he's like, okay, then it's yes. I was like, all right. So, and that worked out well because I knew you and I knew that you could get the job done and I knew that you had built the scene and I knew that you had a vested interest um, in what we were doing. And then I knew that you had resources behind you that we could pull in as well, like First Angel Media, that your ties into them. And like I said, it's a big web of community, and this is exactly what I wanted to see happen.
There's one that's not nearly as well known, but I have the ear of DI Records as well.
Is that
That's Dakota.
Dakota? Yeah. Perfect. Okay. Yeah. We need to figure out a way to involve them more. Actually, that's one of the areas where smaller independent labels like what he's doing, like what Katsulu Productions is doing, what like Some Die Nameless is pretty much just promotions, I think. And while there's no shows going on, there's not a lot going on there. But
there's so many of them too. Wild Kindness.
Well, and then even Utah with Shady Lady. Yep.
Wow, I had another one in my head that completely left. Wow, that's terrible. But if you go to the Build a Scene and up in the menu, there's it says directory. If you had a directory, I've started building a directory of businesses that are local, and there's sound, lights, labels, recording studios, bands, whatever I could think of. And there's definitely room to add yours. So, click the add button and add your business if it'll benefit you.
Cool. And since we're on the topic of help and helping others and helping venues, I just do want to do a quick shout out to a new endeavor that I'm not actively involved in, but I'm supporting as well. And that's it's called Night Lifeline, and that's two people that I worked closely with on the SOS 2020 stuff is Adam Valen over at Drusky Entertainment and Liz Berlin, obviously from Rusted Root, and Mr. Smalls. They were both heavily involved with the Night Lifeline endeavor. And do you happen to know their web address?
I think it's nightlifeline.org.
I believe that's what it is as well. So please check that out as well. The one thing that I will say,
it is linked on the SOS page.
Exactly. Yes. So yeah, we're supporting them just by getting the word out. It was two fairly separate projects, but any funds that were collected or raised through SOS 2020 PGH, those went directly to NIVA, which is a national emergency relief fund. And what's different about Night Lifeline is that those are local funds that stay local. And right now they're just in a collecting, they're in a fundraising mode. And then the flip side of that will be coming at some point where sound engineers or even bartenders, waitresses, anybody who worked in the nightlife industry, even bands, I believe, will be able to apply for grants that would be distributed from that pool of funds. So, you know, please check that website out. And I don't have a lot more information, but I do have the go ahead from Adam to make sure that people are keeping up to date with that website, and any changes that they make will basically just be new instruction on what's coming next. Whether it's whether it's, hey, we're almost at a milestone and we need to get there just a little bit more on the fundraising side of it, or if it's instructions on how to actually apply for the grants, because we do have a lot of local people that we know are suffering, and it's not just the venue owners, but we just want everyone who's involved in that industry and who is hurting because of the pandemic to know that the bands are with them. We're sticking with them. We want them to know that we feel it too, especially the bands that that are musicians for 100% of their income, which is not me, thankfully. So.
And speaking of giving and supporting the scene, this past weekend they did a Save Moondogs virtual event.
Yes.
And currently I'm looking at the GoFundMe, which started out with a $25,000 goal. And I know they had some other avenues that you could make payments to help support. But on the GoFundMe, they're currently at $41,345. So hats off to Pittsburgh. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm very glad to hear that. And I've been fortunate to play Moondogs a couple of times. Ronnie's an acquaintance. I don't know him real well, but but Rocky stopped by Moondogs because it's basically right down the street from In Stuff Music. So that whole Blonox area, I'll be honest with you, between Moondogs and the Starlight and the next door cafe and pianos and stuff, that actually, if it's not already, that could become a real hotbed for music again. I mean, very quickly it could turn into almost like a South Side or a Lawrenceville. So that would be cool. But yeah, Norm Nardini is always up at Starlight, and I'm anxious to see his shows start back up there. And I'm anxious to see Moondogs reopen. This town cannot be without those venues. So
That's the venue's closing. That's an issue.
yeah.
I saw, I can't remember who posted it, but somebody posted a sign of Cativo with the for sale sign on it. And
Yeah, that sign's actually been up a long time. There's been Cativo. So I've played Cativo a couple of times now, and I've been to a lot of shows at Cativo. And Cativo, I don't know where it came from or when it started doing shows. It seemed to come out of nowhere for me. Somebody posted this address where the show was going to be, and I just remember driving around looking for parking, and then I found it, and I was like, what is this place? And then I got in there, and I saw there's the two stages, upstairs and downstairs, and then it's perfectly set up for multi-stage events, like every Halloween, right around Halloween, there would be a cover, like a tribute fest benefit that some friends of ours would put on to raise money. I think for animals. I think every year the beneficiary is animal shelters and possibly animal hospitals, or animal rescue. But the tribute fests are perfect there because you can bounce from stage to stage. Shy Kennedy has put on her Descendants of Crom metal festival there. And
that one is definitely postponed for this year.
That I know.
With her.
I'm just saying, I like
But she did say
Kativo.
2022.
Yep, Kativo is turned into like this perfect 1-2 punch venue. Like if and both upstairs and downstairs are cool in their own way. Downstairs is a little moodier and has a lot of character to it. Upstairs is bigger. It's a little more wide open. It's got the bar in the back, so you can have some bigger shows there. Like I actually saw Faster Pussycat play there. I saw the Biters play there, but that they have been very hush hush about what's going on, and I've gotten like haven't been able to find really any definitive information other than people basically saying that the place has unofficially been for sale for years. I guess it was one of those situations where the owner, I think his name's Frank, would have sold it if if anybody would have offered what the number is he had in his mind. And then when COVID hit, he just formally put the for sale sign up on the door. That doesn't necessarily mean that will never reopen. But it certainly doesn't look good. I mean, he's been closed since last March. So I think that one's just in limbo, and it has been in limbo since around the same time when Brillo Box closed and Hollers closed, and then the Rex was right behind them, and then Hambones kind of for other reasons, but Hambones closed, and then we weren't sure about Kativo. That was on the list, and it was just like Kativo's in limbo, and we don't know if shows will ever return there. I'm really, really hopeful that they do, because that turned out to be a really cool like, I don't want to say secretive or backdoor. I mean, everybody knows about it now, but it seemed to be very backdoor for me for a while, and it was just like, what is this place? It just kind of came out of nowhere, and then all the coolest shows seemed like they were going there. It was just weird for me.
So Shock Frenzy just showed up in the chat.
Oh, that's cool. Those guys are great. They had us out. We owe them a show here in Pittsburgh, and I can't wait to be able to bring them out here. But they had us out in Cleveland in October, when things were a little opened up out there before the second shutdown hit. We were able to do one show out there in Cleveland with those guys, and it was a fantastic show. It was so good to see them, so good to see their fan base, and we're appreciative that they were able to bring us out and let us play to basically their fans, and we're anxious to return that favor as soon as we can get them here in town. So,
I'm gonna give you one more question, and then I'm gonna have a lot of editing to do. Not because what the stuff we talked about isn't great, but because I only have an hour for my show, and we're already at 58 minutes.
All right. Well, let's just make it a 2-minute question, and we're out of here.
Well, I got to throw some music in. That's why I have to edit.
Okay.
What is your favorite venue that you ever played? Since we've been talking a lot about venues.
That I ever played?
Yep. Any band, any place.
And
I lied. I have to ask you another question.
Yeah, I mean, that's obviously really tough. And so in order not to ruffle any feathers, because I love playing all the ones we do here in town, I'll say the coolest experience for me, or one of the coolest experiences for me, was playing Arlene's Grocery in New York City, with the Cosmosonics at the time, which Angelo was the drummer in. They were going through some member changes, so I jumped in on bass and did some shows. Actually, it's kind of a neat story, because they were going through a bass player, change, and my buddy Gary and Angelo at the time were like, "Hey, we've got these shows booked. Let's bring Eric in real quick to learn, a short set of material." And at the same time, Rocky was also learning some songs, and I think we learned some of the same songs, but we were learning some different ones as well. So they would use me on a couple of shows, and then would use Rocky on a show here or there, and then and I went to New York City with them, and then when I got back, when we got back from that show, the Hard Rock Cafe show was booked, and originally I was supposed to do that show with them, and then Gary and Ange called me up, and they're like, "Dude, we got some bad news." They're like, "So Rocky is in the band now." And so he's going to go ahead and play the Hard Rock Cafe. And I was like, oh, cool. All right. So at the time, I was still raising kids, so I couldn't commit to a band full time. So that kind of worked out that I got to go play New York City with those guys. And then, Rocky, who I ended up becoming, very extremely close with over the Borstal Boys, Royal Honey, SOS 2020 thing,
You guys share a practice space too.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah. Well, you know what, though? The way we share that, we rarely see each other. Only when he wants me to move my drums in there, because I have those set up to do some deuce rehearsals this week. But yeah, anytime he needs me to come in and move my crap, he basically calls me up. And so, yeah, sometimes. But yeah, those guys are on 2 nights a week. We're on 2 nights a week, and then we call each other up and split the weekends if we need to. But we don't see a lot of each other there. So, Arlene's Grocery, downtown New York City, and that kind of reminds me. I mean, we were supposed to play the Bowery Electric, and we were supposed to play a cool. The Bowery Electric's in New York City. We were supposed to play that last April, and on the way back from that, on a Friday night, we were going to play a cool club in Philadelphia. I think it was called Tusk. I'll have to look that one up because the name's not sticking in my mind. But I think we were playing a club called Tusk in Philadelphia, and those were the first shows that got canceled due to the pandemic, and that really bummed me out. So I want to try to get that back on the calendar for this year as soon as stuff starts opening up.
So this last question I may have asked you before, but I have to ask it because it's becoming ritual. Who's your Dave Grohl? In other words,
you've asked me this 100 times.
I know, but I have to ask it because if I don't, then that'll be the episode he listens to.
Oh, I got you. So if someone asked me to come on stage and jam their song with them, who would I want to ask me on stage?
Yes. I definitely have asked you that question, clearly.
Absolutely. So I want to make sure I answer it differently every time.
Shock Frenzy, right?
Well, Shock Frenzy, I mean, I would jump on stage with those guys anytime. I hope they do ask me next time. Let's see how I'll answer this one. I'll say Katy Perry. I could do Hot and Cold like nobody's business. I'm not going to right here for you because this ain't free, but but if you buck up, I'll sing some Hot and Cold for you. I
have jewelry.
Not gonna happen, Bill. Sorry, man.
It sells for $5.
No.
Hey, don't give us too much.
All right.
You got to keep them waiting.
Yes. Always keep them wanting more, right?
All right, so this has been episode number 561 of the Pennsylvania Rock Show. With me tonight was Eric Rodger. Make sure you check out his band, RoyalHoneyBand.com. Royal Honey is the band. He is dancing right now in the video.
Chewing. My shirt's chewing.
Oh, okay. I get it.
And smiling. Yeah. That's Smiley Bones from the Wild Hearts.
See, now you threw me off. Anyway.
Sorry, Bill.
BuildAScene.com, 6 a.m. Fridays for release of the new show. 8 p.m. to hear it on the streaming radio station. Go to buildascene.com/show/pars, P-A-R-S, and you can see the upcoming bands and where this show is going to air. And I'm really echoing again now, so I'm going to stop talking because it's annoying. We'll catch you next Friday on episode 562. Eric, I want to thank you for coming on. I almost forgot to say that.
Thanks for having me, Bill. Again.